Hello and welcome back to Hello to Healing. I'm your host, Michaela,
And I'm your other host, Michelle.
and today we are talking about the retreat we recently just had. And that was really about the divine feminine. And I was really helper, but Michelle was more of one of the creators of it. So if you want to lead us into that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And it was great. I know that it was just women, which divine feminine just doesn't mean women. You have divine feminine and divine masculine. Every person has that. But your divine feminine is basically your intuitive side, your heartfelt side, the peace and caring and harmony. That's kind of where you come from with the divine feminine. And our emphasis is that right now on this planet, we seem to be much more on the masculine side of things. Not that I'm saying
Mm.
things are wrong with that. I mean, that's your motivator. That is
Strength,
your
energy,
strength and your energy. But the problem is we don't have balance
balance.
between the two. So this whole workshop was basically to awaken you to that side, that feminine side, to try to balance things out, especially being intuitive. That was a kind of the emphasis we had.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
allowing some of the things that we did, which I found quite helpful and also very introspective, is we did more of a meditation, and that was centering ourselves and also kind of connecting to what that version of that divine feminine energy actually looks like. And so for me also understanding in what ways are you able to really nurture that part of yourself? Because the divine feminine is a lot about nurturing, caring for the self and for others. And sometimes when we care for others more than ourselves, that gets out of balance.
absolutely.
And one of the things in the topics that was brought up is giving and expecting something to be received and given back to you. When, for example, putting out your energy towards your children or towards your partner and expecting your cup to be filled in return if you're giving out. But a lot of times we don't receive that energy back in what we put out in the way that we expect it to be. And so, because of that, we're kind of not allowing our own cup to be filled when the truth is when you put energy of nurturing and loving, it doesn't necessarily come back in the same form. It comes back in many different ways.
Right.
The biggest thing is about learning that when you give, it's because you're giving for love and love from yourself. And in return, we are actually giving to ourselves too.
And that's the key of the divine feminine is the love and love for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing we really emphasized is the ultimate divine feminine is Mother Earth,
Pachamama.
Pachamama. And we really emphasized getting in touch with nature. Um, there's a cry from the earth for us to really get back to being in touch. So I'll tell you, I had my shoes off the whole day, touching the ground, getting the energy from the earth. And that particular Saturday was incredibly windy. Um, it was crazy windy, but it was also beautiful. And the place we had it, there was a very large cottonwood tree. And that cottonwood tree, as the wind came through it, it was like that tree was just talking to us and saying, you're blessing the earth by what you're doing today. So we tried to come up through this workshop that we did, or the retreat, is to come up with ways to nurture yourself to express that divine feminine. And so one of them was definitely meditation. We walked through a meditation, and it was also grounding with the earth.
Hmm.
We also had a incredible little quiet time after our lunch hour that was based around
Yeah.
talking to the earth, hugging a tree if you want to
Hmm.
do that, and
Connecting to the plants, the ground, the
connecting to
soil.
everything and being quiet and listening back. Because that's the thing we don't do. So, yeah, you go out, maybe sit in the grass, but are you listening to what it is saying back to you?
Hmm.
So, that was some of the things.
Yeah, I think that was a nice thing. It was kind of like a silent walk where you just really were also with your own thoughts and your own energy and kind of going outside yourself to really appreciate nature on a deeper level. So when you're quieting yourself internally, you're more open to experiencing the external and its beauty when you can really calm that monkey mind down. And
Yeah,
so that was a lot of external kind of recognition. And then nurturing how Mother Nature is always nurturing itself and trying to help itself by replenishing and revitalizing. And that makes you really reflect on what are you doing for yourself? How are you revitalizing and really trying to replenish and fill your own cup? And so I was really thinking about how do I do that? And so some of the physical things would be physically go and move my body. Yeah,
right.
going to the gym, doing those kinds of things.
Mhm.
And how I also look at it is something I've created my own definition of something called an energetic anchor. And so, what do I do when I feel very drained, when I feel like I don't have enough energy for myself? What are the three key aspects that I need to help fill my cup? It's the physical, moving my body. The mental thing would be for me finding something that allows me to listen. Sometimes it's podcasts that are more of a positive kind of conversation.
Right.
I really like listening to music too. So those
Hmm.
kinds of things help clear your mind mentally. And then along comes with that emotional part. So how are you helping heal yourself emotionally? And healing can look like writing down,
Yeah, we did
your
some journaling.
yeah, writing
Right.
down your emotions, how you're feeling. If there's a certain situation that's coming up in your life that it's hard for you to kind of mentally get over, then most likely there's an emotional part that's being triggered by that mental thought keep reoccurring over and over
Right.
again. So you need to go down to those, what emotionally am I feeling and what would I like to feel? And what do I need to do to release that? Journaling can be one. Speaking, talking about your emotions is another way of releasing that. And also crying too. Crying and tears and yawning
Right.
as well are all physical forms of you actually emotionally releasing these chemicals in your body.
And there was another thing that we kind of taught people at the retreat. It's called tapping, where
Mhm.
you're tapping yourself and you're realizing what emotion you're having, recognizing it, and then saying to yourself, I still love myself unconditionally.
Mm.
And going through that process really helps with that, also that emotional thing. So that was another tool that we kind of taught people that I think was definitely beneficial.
Hmm.
We also did some art.
Art is a great way
It's
to express
it's
yourself.
a
So.
great way, and we had the participants make a divine feminine goddess, and it was great. I think it was a definite release. A lot of them said, I wasn't good at art, and we said, we don't care.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing I saw in that is this form of self-judgment going into an
Exactly.
activity is always having this preconception about the end result of what you're going to create
Hmm.
before you even create it. And it actually, some people had a little anxious anxiety for before even doing the activity that literally had no end result of being judged or a contest or anything like that. but you see these created thoughts of, past life, past experiences you've had, can create anxious, emotional
Right,
roller coasters
right.
internally when you experience those or put in those
So
circumstances.
we were
So,
just trying to get things released.
mhm,
And then we also did a sound bath, which I can't emphasize enough that music, sound, frequencies, it's healing.
mhm.
There's just no doubt about that, that it puts you into a different place and space that allows you emotionally, spiritually, and physically to
Mhm.
do some healing and letting go. So,
Sound baths are a great way, and you can go to a community event and have sound baths, or you can do a sound bath that's individually created for you, which would be something comparable like the harmonic egg, which the harmonic egg is like a
yes,
personalized sound bath for your body,
absolutely.
and it is something definitely we would recommend and highly suggest trying it out here at the Power Within Wellness. So if you have any questions or would like to reach out and know more, we have our email and our phone number linked below. So we look forward to kind of experiencing all walks of life that come through here. And thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.